So many high-level drivers too.
Quick look at the calendar for you coming your way over summer. We have a little breather between now and Christmas, and then it gets basically into top gear. We go back-to-back. Venues like Hampton Downs, once again, will venture to the South Island. The 70th running of the New Zealand Grand Prix at Highlands. That is going to be something special, milestone event.
It certainly is, and I can't wait. There's some big names being talked out coming into the series and being part of it, so watch the space on that side of things as well. But speaking of big names, you know, you've got the GT World Challenge qualifying this morning, the GT3 cars. You've got three drivers, first, second and third, Brock Feeney, Jackson Evans and Ryan Wood. They were at Gold Coast last weekend racing on the streets there, and they are here at Hampton Downs today, live and local. It's so cool to see them here.
No surprise, there has been a huge roll-up for our grid walk and for our signing sessions with some of the stars from both sides of the ditch. Greg Murphy is in action this weekend. We'll be catching up with him as well. Our broadcast team is complemented by the F1 and Bathurst 12-hour caller in Richard Crail. He'll be with us for the entire series. Ronan Murphy, the son of four-time Bathurst winner Greg Murphy, with us as well. Ronan's a great racer in his own right. He takes us on a tour now of the circuit and the longest of the three layouts that we have here at Hampton Downs.
Hey guys, welcome aboard the GR Super Safety Car for a lap of the Hampton Downs International Circuit. We come down here towards turn one, braking nice and late. The track starts to drop away from us a little bit, getting the apex nice and late and putting the power down of the safety car. Always got to watch for track limits there at turn one. It's easy to run off there on exit. I'm sure we're going to see it a bit over this weekend. As we head down the back straight, coming under the braking zone, braking nice and hard, dropping the gears in the Supra, down to second gear, nice and wide on the entry, cutting in and getting a late apex, putting the power down on the exit, using the camber of the road here at turn three to turn the car in, get the apex, pick up the power, drive out of the bolt, into turn four. Getting the first part of the corner, the apex there, kissing the white line, out to mid-track, and then getting the apex for the second part of the corner. We don't want to come off this corner too wide. We come down, braking around the 50, turning in for the double bastard corner, turn 5 and 6. The track starts to undulate a bit, get the elevation, getting the apex at turn 6 there and putting the power back down. Come down to the first hairpin, getting the car stopped, rotated, back on the power. Nice acceleration in this car. As we take off up the hill, up towards where we can't see the track anymore. Shift down gears, get the car rotated nicely, late apex and picking up the power, transferring all the horsepower in the Supra down onto the road for the final corner, turn 9, braking around the 50 board, veering the car in, starting to decrease the brake pressure, mid-corner, mid-track, letting it run the car out, getting the apex on the exit. Again, being careful of track limits on this last corner there. It's going to be one to watch over the weekend. Thanks for coming aboard to ride the GR Super Safety Car for a lap of the Hampton Downs International Circuit.
Nice to take it in at speed like that, but when you see it from the drone shot, some of our camera positions around the venue, Hampton Downs looks amazing at the moment. So to Deborah Flula, to Josie, to Tony Quinn and all of the team, you have absolutely hit it out of the park for the season opener. Andrew, you're here regularly from a coaching perspective. Just take us a little deeper there on what Ronan sort of showcased. What are the little things, the nuances of Hampton Downs?
I think it's the undulation straight off the bat. I know you can't see on camera, but just behind us, the track just drops away. You can't see the apex. You can't see where you're going, and there's a lot of that going on around this track, and it's quite a fast corner, that first corner, with a huge long run down into turn 2. So it's about getting those high speed corners right, but then there's those tighter corners where the mechanical grip comes in as well. So it takes a lot to get a lap together around here. There's a lot of commitment, but then also a lot of finesse through that tighter part of the circuit as well.
For those of you watching, wherever you're watching right around the world, welcome to this. They're in for a treat here, because not just from a driver's perspective, as you've talked about there, the cars, the way they move around this venue, and it's a nice mixture of everything, because we combine the three layouts in some respects. There's some tight and tricky stuff too, isn't there?
Yeah, there really is. There's a section which is called the Double B. That's very, very hard to get through there, right?
For a reason it's called the Double B.
Exactly. It's a really, really hard one to get right, and it's bumpy through there. It's blind, and just when you think you're hooked up, it then goes off camber. So trying to piece together just that corner is tough, and you've just come off a really tight, tough sequence as well. So you've got that all right, and then you arrive at the double B and you just go, right, I've got to get this right. If I can get that right, then the lap is looking good from there. So there's just so much to piece together around this track, and it's a great feeling when you get it right around here.
Our coverage today is bookended by basically by GT competitions, so Grand Tourers. Stunning GT3 machines will conclude our schedule later this afternoon, but we begin with their cool cousins. GT4 is basically production-based sports cars with some good cost control measures in place for entry-level professional racing and for some aspiring pro racers as well. We bring in Ronan Murphy to the discussion now, the conversation, along with Richard Crail. Crailsy, it's been a brilliant season. It really has in Monochrome Australia GT4. Well done to SRO and everyone in the teams for getting the cars across the ditch for this. We are in for a treat here, aren't we?
Rusty, Andrew, thank you. Welcome to the commentary box and my good mate Ronan Murphy alongside me. This has been a massive logistical effort, but Ronan, the vibe and the Kiwi fans embracing this atmosphere of cars coming into the country has been outstanding.
Oh, it's amazing, Richard, and how good is it just to see a grid full of cars, full of people. You know, everyone's really pumped up and excited. We're walking around in the back of the pits just before, and just everyone seems to be really energized, and the vibe here is just amazing. So it's so good to see Hampton Downs really filling up at the moment, and what a great grid of a combination of Australian and New Zealand GT4 cars.
Brilliant shot from the 6th drone cam overlooking Hampton Downs. This will be the first standalone GT4 race on Kiwi soil. This championship has exploded in popularity this year. Massive grids, hugely competitive, and a great array of cars. And it's time to let them loose for race 1. Monochrome GT4 Australia coming your way next. Hampton Downs Motorsport Park looks an absolute treat, and for the first time, the Monochrome GT4 Australia Championship is going to race on New Zealand shores. Welcome everybody to the Repco Next Gen NZ Championship for the Alliance Services Hampton Downs GT International. 2 one-hour races for Monochrome GT4 and GT World Challenge Australia, powered by AWS, coming your way this afternoon in beautiful conditions. This is the final round of a championship that last raced in September at the Bend Motorsport Park in South Australia. It was a thrill ride the whole way. This is how it played out. dramatic weekend at the Bend in South Australia, just outside of the capital there in Adelaide. That was the last time they raced, and the whole field got put into containers and sent across the Tasman here to Hampton Downs. This is how Monochrome GT4 Australia works. This is a global category, and there are classes up for grabs. Doesn't matter if you win silver, if you win silver AM or AM, you still get the first place trophy, and all 3 championships up for grabs. 2 60-minute races in a weekend, rolling starts, 2 drivers. Each of them has done some qualifying earlier on, and we're going to talk about that in just a minute. Driver 1 does quali 1 and race 1. Driver 2, the same for race 2. And then they swap around during the mandatory pit stop. So it makes for exciting, diverse, intense competition. As we head down to the Shannons pit lane, we find Greg Rust with a guy who's watching his co-driver Rusty start this one from pole position.
Kralsey, I'm with Max Gagan, who's done a super job with Chaz Mostert's Method Motorsport over the course of the entire season. Well done to both of you and Tom in qualifying. Nice start to the weekend here in New Zealand.
Yeah, thank you, mate. We're actually on the back foot a bit yesterday. We didn't know where we were going to end up. We were struggling a little bit of car balance, but Scaff's tuned the thing up overnight where we're ready to roll. We've done all we can do this morning, so Tommy's just got to lead today, and hopefully I can jump in and do all right.
You've come from a proper racing family. You love this game. Some impressions of Hampton Downs. What do you think?
Yeah, I love it. It's actually very physical in the sense that you don't really stop until you get to the front straight or just out of turn 1. So you're flat out in the car, and it's really good for me and Tom to actually learn how driving techniques and making the car work, and then just pitch it together this weekend.
Okay, enjoy the race this afternoon.
Thank you.
Kralsey, as we go to you, a little bit of work by Glenn Seaton yesterday and the team at Gomersall Motorsport too. The car on the outside of the front row there, the Mustang, with a ball joint braking in practice yesterday. They look like they're right today though.
Thank you, Greg Rust, for the update as we have a look at the Hampton Downs International Circuit. Ronan Murphy, this is a bit of a roller coaster ride, 3.8 Ks and 10 turns. There's a lot going on in this lap though.
Yeah, it's very critical getting a good run through turn 1 there, Kralsey, and then running down the massive long back straight down towards turn 2. Big braking zone down there at 2, getting it through 3 and 4 nicely before you come through around the double B corner and onto the twin hairpins before the rest of the lap.
The map says just over 10 metres of elevation change here, but it doesn't seem believable because it's got great undulation, really good flow. The cars are heading down towards turn 1 and they plunge down to the right. Reminds me of a bit of Paddock Hill Bend and Brands Hatch. There's some great elevation at this place, adds real character.
Yeah, turn 1's one of those corners, you know, you actually can't see the exit of the corner or the apex. It's just a concrete wall on the outside and on the inside, and you've just got to commit and hope for the best before getting onto that big long back straight where we're going to see some horsepower get put down towards the tarmac.
So what you're saying is just send it, basically?
Yeah, that's a more analytical term of saying send it.
So the 25-car grid rolls out. We did have news just before that Glenn Walker, who races the BMW in the AM class, has been a late withdrawal to this one in car number 14 as we get set for a race. This is going to be spectacular. Never before seen on New Zealand shores, a full field of GT4 cars. Tom Heyman did an awesome job in qualifying the Method Motorsport McLaren alongside Aaron Seaton. What a surname that is. Jared Hughes, Mercedes AMG out of 3rd. Ryland Gray off to Supercars next year. He's out of 4. Nash Morris and Daniel Frugas next. Watch out for Cameron Crick. He'll be fast in the D.A. Campbell Transport Mustang. Taylor Bryant going along nicely. Dan Gaunt, the Kiwi legend out of P10. 16-year-old Jay Murray not far behind him. P13, yes, that is Greg Murphy. The great, the legend of Bathurst is in the field this weekend with Grant Aitken. Caleb Patterson making his debut starts behind. Ryan Sorensen is in a Method Motorsport McLaren down to Lib Palermo in 24th position in car number 66 in the BMW. Great field, class racing. This will play out over the course of an hour, and the start, Ronan, critical, but you also need to be mindful that this is an hour. You need to make sure your brain is in gear and you can survive to the end of this one.
Yeah, exactly. It's definitely not a sprint race. You've got to pace yourself and get yourself in a good position and make sure the car's in one piece when you hand it over to the co-driver to finish off the rest of the race. So this is going to be exciting. It's great to see, and we've got 4 different manufacturers in the top 5, Kralsey. We've got the McLaren off the pole, the Ford on the outside of the front row, the Mercedes, Ryland Gray obviously in another Ford there in 4th, but then the Porsche of Nash Morris and Zoe Woods there in 5th.
And the Toyota Supra in 6th. So great variety. That's what Monochrome GT4 Australia is all about. for the first time on New Zealand shores. A massive field of GT4 cars will load themselves up. We've got championship battles to play out over the next hour. Let's go racing at Hampton Downs. This is GT4 racing like you've never seen it before in New Zealand. Lights are out, off we go, great start. Jared Hughes swamps the McLaren from pole. Tom Heyman shuffled back to the field at Seaton, and there's contact. Hughes is gone, Seaton's gone. Heyman squeezes through up the inside in the McLaren, having been swamped on the run into turn one. Early drama caught up in that, as well as Cameron Crick in the Ford Mustang, and off the road championship contender Rylan Gray in the Lubra Max Mustang.
And we said turn one was going to be critical, and obviously there a lot of cars did not make it round. Tom Heyman did a great job, but he still got, as we see another incident there, the Mustang, or two Mustangs involved there, the Mobil 1 car.
That's the 99 Motorsport car in there as well, the white one with, that's Jake Camilleri, I think it was, involved in that as well. Around at turn two, and we're going to go safety car early in this one. Clock ticks, McLaren, Porsche, the top three. Daniel Gaunt has got himself to third place in the game over Supra, as the Ford Raptor quick recovery vehicle is out on the racetrack to pick up the Porsche stranded down at turn one. I can already hear the smoke coming off the laptop of Driver Standards Chief Craig Baird, who's just behind up here in race control. Big damage for the D.A. Campbell Transport racing car. This is Cameron Crick. These guys in the Silver Am class were championship contenders. That might just put a line through them.
Yeah, that was a wild start to this first race, and definitely was a bit going on there as we look at the Wade replay coming down the inside. So Jared Hughes got a great start, and he's managed to get down the inside. The Mustang's cut in front as well. Aaron Seaton there.
So Seaton's turned into the corner. Hughes on the inside in the JGI car. But then while that was going on, almost independently on the outside, Crick caught up. Big whack in the rear of the McLaren from Nash Morris.
And Tom Heyman there in that pole-sitting McLaren, he got very lucky. He got hit up the back, and he did actually make contact with the front of the Mustang, but he seems to be okay, and he's managed to stay out the lead of the race. As we see there, the Mustangs there, Mobil 1 car and the Dell Motorsport car getting caught up in that, unfortunately. But that has shaken it up, and as you said before, Dan Gaunt, the master, and Greg Murphy actually there in fourth as well. So the two Attack of the Greybeards, they've actually managed to move themselves up into third and fourth. So not a bad start on the first lap of this race for those guys.
So the order, and this is quite remarkable, Tom Heyman leads the race. Method Motorsport McLaren. Nash Morris up to second in the TechWorks Porsche. Daniel Gaunt is third. Would you have a look at the name just behind him? Car number 10, it's an Audi R8 GT4, Greg Murphy. Behind the wheel has climbed up to fourth place. Damage to the Daniel Frugas Tim Berryman Toyota Supra that Daniel Frugas started in this race down in pit lane.
And that car's leaking fluid as well out the front, so it looks like it might, yeah, that's going back in the garage there, Richard. It's done a radiator or something along those lines, unfortunately. So really disappointing for Daniel Frugas there. He's qualified so well up there in the top six. Unfortunately, it's come undone there at the start on the first lap.
Those guys have had such a great season, debut season for the Toyota Supra in GT4 Australia. In fact, you guys have had the Supra over here for longer than we've had it in Monochrome GT4 Australia, which probably explains why guys like Alan Sargent, who's 7th, and James Sachs in 9th, are going so well this weekend. Bit of familiarity with the front engine rear drive Toyota sports car.
And the two New Zealand Supras, the cars run by Race Lab, the 107 there of Alan Sargent in 7th, and Sean Varney's actually done a great job to move up the 635 car he's sharing with Glenn Chappell there into the top 10. So it's actually been a really good start to this race for the Kiwis. Unfortunately, a lot of bad luck for some of those cars off the front there, and Tom Heyman, the pole sitter, how he managed to get through that was pretty remarkable.
Greg Rust in the Shannons pit lane. It's been busy down there.
So Cameron Crick is coming in now, and that Mustang is crabbing its way into the lane. So I'm with a pretty disappointed Dean Campbell. What's the word from the radio chat and so on?
I haven't heard it all, but from what I've heard, he said it's probably not good enough to continue. By the way it came in the lane there, I dare say it probably isn't. Anyway, that's unfortunately the nature of the game, but it's probably going to put us out of any contention, and pretty sad to see when we're this close to the end of the season.
Thank you for talking to us.
Thank you, mate.
Dean Campbell hails from Bathurst, famous part of the world, a great trucking company out of there. They've got a brilliant merchandise range going on, Ronan, at the moment, which has become incredibly popular in the sport. They might need to sell a bit more of that to patch up the Mustang for race 2 tomorrow. So clock continues to click while we're behind the control of the BMW M safety car in Monochrome GT4 Australia. Also in pit lane is Zach Suter, TCR Australia race winner, Team Suter Racing in the tough lift McLaren. They're parked up in lane as well, so they got some damage off that start. So busy down in Shannons pit lane at the moment as cars sort themselves out. So behind the control of the BMW safety car, Tom Heyman leads the way over Nash Morris and Daniel Gawn. Now, to put a full stop on that championship scenario that Dean Campbell mentioned, they came into this race 24 points behind Aaron Seaton and Jason Gomersall. You receive 25 points for winning a race. So if they do not finish, Seaton and Gomersall score anything in this one, they will be absolutely the champions in silver, and with one race to go for Aaron Seaton and Jason Gomersall. So right now, Seaton was involved in that drama at the start of the race. He's currently scored in 14th overall, but he is still circulating at the moment in Monochrome GT4 Australia.
And just watching the McLaren, the pole-sitting car coming across the line just before, it actually looks like they've escaped with very little to no damage on that car. So someone must have been looking over Tom Heyman on that first lap, because he's managed to escape pretty handedly out of that, and he's still got the race lead. So safety car is going to be in this lap, and we're going to be getting back into it with 48 minutes, just over 48 and a half minutes left on the clock for the first race of Monochrome GT4 Australia here at the Allied Services Hampton Downs GT International.
A brilliant pit and paddock walk in the lunch break here today. Thousands of fans streaming up and down pit lane and drivers signing autographs. I bumped into Nathan Callahan, who's in the Legrand Porsche. Unfortunately, they're one of the cars that got some damage at the start of this one. He said, wow, this vibe is incredible, and it's so nice to see people enthusiastic about our series and turning out on force. Well, they've sent Cameron Crick out, I suspect, to try and keep him on the lead lap, but the damage in the rear of that car, it's got a totaling issue, you'd think, that's tracking out, and that car will not be in race-worthy condition. They're going to have to send that back to pit lane. So the lights are off on the BMW M safety car with 47 minutes and 50 seconds to go. We'll go back to racing. Tom Heyman in a position potentially to turn a 9-point championship lead into one much larger in the silver class in Monochrome GT4. Green means go. Some of the Supras a little bit further back went really early. Greg Murphy has erupted away. Heyman's gone nowhere. Did he wait for the restart? Did everyone else go? Confusion at the start. Murphy sweeps around the front. And one of the Race Lab Supras has sailed around the outside. Is that James Sachs, I think, who leads it now down the back straight?
We've only had 2 green laps of Monochrome GT4 Australia, and it has been absolute chaos, Richard. So we see Jared Hughes going off in the background there. So one of the Race Lab Supras, I think that's Sean Varney's now taken the lead from Greg Murphy. Alan Sargent's there in third. Another one of the Supras of Taylor Bryant there, he's making moves on another one of the Supras. And then you've got James Sachs there and the Mercedes there in fifth. So this is just absolute chaos, and safety cars can sometimes breed safety cars, and this has gotten off to another crazy start.
Busy times for race direction in this one, trying to understand what happened on the restart. Heyman continues to circulate, but the McLaren was either slow away or he was waiting to pick the go point there, but everyone just went behind him. That's going to be a difficult one to unpick. How's this battle for the lead? So you're right, it's Varney who leads, Greg Murphy in second, Alan Sargent third, and there is Tom Heyman picking his way back to the front with the Queenslander Nash Morris following him through.
And Greg Murphy is hunting the back of Sean Varney. He's all over the back of that Supra. The Audi coming off the corner a little bit better, but the Supras have got really good straight line speed. Taylor Bryant there in third. Alan Sargent got muscled out the way by Tom Heyman down at the first of the hairpins. Nash Morris has lost a few spots. Dan Gaunt also got caught up in that start line melee at the restart there. So crazy start to this race is there. Murph's going up the inside of Varney.
What a comeback this has been for Greg Murphy. They were struggling with the Audi in practice earlier in the weekend, he and Grant Aitken, but Murph's been on the tools. He's been engineering this car, and Greg Murphy slices down the inside. Didn't predict this coming into the weekend. Greg Murphy leads in Monochrome GT4 Australia.
Grant Aitken will be having kittens down in the pit lane right now. That car's out in the lead of the races. Taylor Bryant's now looking down the inside. That's bold. Down the inside of Sean Varney. Great pass, and he's following Murphy through to try and get away now from the rest of the field. Tom Heyman starting to regather his form a bit there in that McLaren there in 4th place. Nash Morris there in 5th, followed by Alan Sargent with Dan Gaunt not too far behind.
Well, this is fun. What a way to start the GT4 Australia adventure over here in New Zealand. Racy stuff early, so the Audi R8 V10 GT4 car leads the way. It's the baby brother, if you will, of the car we'll see in GT World Challenge Australia later. Heyman now slices up the inside of the Toyota Supra and wrestles 3rd position away. So the slow start, he was right down to the back of the top 10 on that restart with everyone split him. He's now made quick ground in the Method Motorsport Artura GT4 to get himself back up to 3rd on the road.
And the passes that Tom Heyman's making are so...
Oh, no! Massive contact. Nash Morris dived down the inside of the Porsche Tipper and made contact with the Silver Championship leader. And there's damage on the Method Motorsport McLaren. That is hugely dramatic from a championship context. The Supra's got some damage as well. And he's going to struggle to get that car turned down at the final corner at turn 10.
And that was overly aggressive there from Nash Morris. He went down the inside. I think he was actually passing the car behind Tom Heyman, and it looked like he maybe got crossed up with the ABS in that car as it sort of lurched forward, and he ended up piling into the back of Tom Heyman. So poor old Tommy Heyman there. He'd done a great job to pass a couple of cars and get back into that top 3, and now he's unfortunately it's all come undone there for himself and Nash Morris.
Alan Sargent in the Race Lab Supra is going to head back to pit lane. This is it. We commentators are not driver standards chiefs for a reason, but that wasn't pretty, Ronan.
It's very hard to pull a car up at that hairpin. It's downhill and it's very aggressive, and so he's just dived in there. Great opportunistic move, but unfortunately he's ended up sparing Tom Heyman in the process. So Nash has actually managed to keep going. There's a fair bit of damage on the front of that TechWorks run Porsche Cayman, but he's still managed to keep going. So we'll see how that unfolds and how that fares for the rest of the race. Dan Gaunt has moved up into 3rd place. And then we've got the SS Science car of Aaron Seaton, who's managed to gather himself back up, get back into the top 5 with Jay Murray not far behind.
We'll get an update on how much, if any, damage there is. Well, there's definitely some damage to Tom Heyman's car. The McLaren now scored in 19th position on the road. Rylan Gray in 9th position and 2nd in the silver class. So that's the championship battle. The Ford Mustang versus the McLaren. Less than 10 points between them coming into it. And we're going to go safety car again for the 2nd time in this race.
Yeah, so, man, that's we almost needed a safety car just to gather ourselves back up after that, Richard. Man, that was a chaotic few last laps, as we see there, unfortunately, the stricken Supra of Alan Sargent. That car's got a heap of damage on the front of it. Alan was he was really confident going into this weekend, feeling really good, and that's a really sad sight to see, one of the New Zealand entered GR Supras, and we see there a whole lot of damage from all carbon fibre and bits that have come off from that melee. So we're now under safety car. Greg Murphy's still leading the race. He managed to take advantage of all the chaos on the first couple of safety cars. So I'm sure if you spoke to Gregory before the start of this race, he would not have forecasted that after almost 20 minutes of racing, he would be leading. But he is, and Taylor Bryant did a great job to get up in there into 2nd place. Dan Gaunt in 3rd, Nash Morris there in 4th, and Aaron Seaton rounding out the top 5. So chaotic start to this first race, but if that doesn't get your blood racing, what does?
I wonder if Method Motorsport will take this opportunity to pit Tom Heyman just to check that car. There's a mandatory pit stop window in GT4, but I wonder, while under the control of the BMW M safety car, they take that opportunity to duck into Shannon's pit lane and just check out the damage.
Tough day if you're with a McLaren at the moment, so it would seem. I'm with Team Suter Motorsports, Zach Suter. What's happened to yours?
Yeah, unfortunately, it was. I'm not too sure what really happened. Going into turn 1, I had a Supra on my inside from the row behind, so he must have got a really good start. Up the inside, then I had obviously the guys on the left-hand side on my outside, and I just got sandwiched. So they both were sort of, the one on the outside was coming down, and I just had nowhere to go. So unfortunately, been a steering arm. Not much I could do about that. But yeah, Bailey Love, our other car, was doing a fantastic job there. He was in the lead after the start. I think a few of the local boys got a bit excited on the restart and got past him before the control line. But that's all right. He's doing a great job, and fingers crossed for him.
He is ever the pro, Zach Suter. I think he's basically saying it's on between the Kiwis and Aussie.
pretty much, mate. Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Zach Suitor in Shannons pit lane talking to Greg Rust, and that turn 1 drama for the Tough Lift Racing McLaren Artura means that they are out of the race and they'll have to work to patch that car over the night. We're getting lots of Stewart notifications up here about incidents being reported out on the racetrack, which is not a shock. We're behind the control of the BMW M safety car for the debris on the exit of what is turn 9. It's known as the Porsche Dipper here at Hampton Downs. Great crowd in the background watching on at this spectacular venue. Greg Murphy, Taylor Bryant and Dan Gaunt, the top 3, as we take a deep breath with 40 minutes to go in Monochrome GT4 Australia.
I think the heart rate's only just dropped after all of that, Krusy, but yeah, and looking at that replay just before it did, Jared Hughes got an incredible start on that Mercedes. He managed to get down the inside of the whole front row, capitalised, but then it looked like he's just coming from such a narrow angle, got right on the inside, maybe not slowed the car up enough and lost the rear. And as he's gone round, then the rest of the field have tried to sort of disperse and make their way through. Unfortunately, we saw the Mustang of Ryland Gray and the other, the Campbell car of, that Cameron Crick was driving. They both got caught up in it. Then the 777 car piled into Cameron Crick and everyone else followed. So it was definitely a hairy opening lap, and what a way to kick off the first race for Monochrome GT4 Australia.
Welcome to New Zealand, I think, is the story. So there's the Silver Class Championship leading McLaren, damage to the diffuser. This is the incident again. Morris going down the inside of the Racelab Supra. Big contact to the back of the Method Motorsport car that was already on the recovery trail from the dramas early on. Thanks to the Wade replay there explaining what happened at the Porsche Dipper, not far away from going back to green flag racing here at Hampton Downs. Greg Murphy is the race leader. The lights will go out on the BMW safety car this time by. It'll head back to Shannon's pit lane. And we'll go back to racing with Audi leading Toyota, Porsche and Ford at the pointy end of Monochrome GT4 Australia. And the drivers looking nervously watching on. So this has been a little storyline over the weekend. Ronan Murphy, Grant Aitken versus Tony Quinn. Tony with Daniel Gaunt, their third. Right now, it's advantage Team Aitken Murphy because Greg is leading the way.
Yeah, I'm sure Tony and Grant were maybe not expecting to be getting in the cars potentially in the top few positions at the end of their stint. So this is great, and it's going to be great when they jump in the cars and push on and see how they go. But certainly, it's we had Toyotas running at the front at the start of the race, and now we've got a Toyota in second, another Toyota in third. There's a bit of an armada of them out there, and they keep popping up. So very interesting. Did not expect to see an Audi out the front of this after the first couple of laps, but Greg Murphy managed to stay out of trouble. He's a bit of a wily old fox, and as we see now, the safety car lights go off. So we're going to be seeing a restart this lap, see who can put down the power to the tarmac the best and get up that big, long front straight here at Hampton Downs.
I had a lot of scenarios in my playbook for how this would play out. And car number 10 leading 25 minutes into the race. Admittedly, wasn't one of them.
Neither was for me.
Never rule out G. Murphy. Turns out, pretty good at car racing. He'll lead them back in the Audi R8. This is a car, well, a brand that's had some success already in the championship this year in the form of the Nippies car with Blake Purdy behind the wheels. Had a very successful season. The 6 drone cam showcases the beautiful northern Waikato region as they restart. It's really busy behind. A couple went really early on that restart. Caught napping, perhaps some of them. Murphy leads though. Taylor Bryant second, Daniel Gaunt in third, and then Morris in the Porsche. So silver class contender. Watch out for the TechWorks car, and pointing the wrong way is a Ford Mustang and the Love Mercedes AMG. And for the second time this race, Jake Camilleri finds himself pointing in the wrong direction. Now the Love car, Bailey is going to be able to drive out there. Camilleri though, a little bit deeper in that gravel trap at turn 1. I wonder if the Mobil 1 car is going to be able to drive out or if he'll have to be pulled out. Meanwhile, Murphy's under pressure. Bryant has a look up the inside through the right-hander, turns 4 and 5. Long, loaded corner, and you feel like you're turning for hours and hours at this place. And then they pop up the hill, and good news. We're not going to go safety car at this point because Jake Camilleri's got himself out of trouble.
Yeah, and that was a great restart from Greg Murphy. He actually sort of caught Taylor Bryant napping a little bit and managed to pull a little bit of a gap, so then he didn't have to defend down at turn 1, and he got a good exit onto turn 2. As we see there, he's got a wider line on the exit there of the hairpin going down towards Porsche Dipper. Taylor Bryant may have a look. Dan Gaunt's going down the inside there of the Supra. So The number 10 car and the 101 car, they qualified a little bit further back, but they've managed to find themselves in the top 2 going down onto this next lap after 25 minutes of racing.
And it's now going to be Daniel Gaunt versus Greg Murphy, and that is a brilliant story as Nash Morris has a look up the inside. The Porsche squeezes the Supra. They'll go wheel to wheel out of turn 10, which is, I don't know, it's more than 180 degrees. It's a long way, and it's massively wide as well. And just in behind them is Aaron Seaton in the SS Science Ford Mustang. They're going to go 3 wide towards turn 1. Seaton looks down there. He was pointing in the wrong direction 25 minutes ago. Now he slides up the inside. Aaron Seaton gets another spot.
And the front downforce on that Porsche won't be helped by the splitter there. It's actually folded over on itself. So Nash Morris is probably struggling a little bit with straight line speed in that car. As we see the splitter fluttering a little bit on the 71 car of Aaron Seaton as well. So he's now made the move. He's managed to get up into 3rd place there past Nash Morris in the big V8 Mustang. So you see there, Greg Murphy and Dan Gaunt have managed to pull a little gap on these guys and try and pull away a little bit, stay away from any future action.
Drama. There's still half the race to go. It could very much happen. Look at the battle for the lead. How much do you want to buy a GT4 car right now? How good's the racing? Daniel Gaunt, was there a little bit of Morse code through the double Bs? I think there might have been on the back of Greg Murphy. Now he gets up the inside into the hairpin, squeezes down on Murph, and they're going to go side by side to the Porsche Dipper. So Murphy, Gaunt, Seaton in the mix as well. Daniel Gaunt's going to buy into the race lead. Game over car goes to the front, and Greg Murphy finds himself back to 2nd place.
And the Mustang of Aaron Seaton's looking to go around the outside of Greg Murphy, but he's not going to be able to quite do it. He's on the outside. As we see there, Murphy slots back in the 2nd behind Gaunt. That Supra, the 101 game over car, is on fire at the moment. As he's pulled a little margin coming on the exit of the corner there, Greg Murphy didn't quite get off there as well as the previous lap, and now Aaron Seaton's coming up and behind him.
Shannons pit lane, Greg Rust.
I've spoken to the team at Method Motorsport just now. That's a pretty fired up Max Gagan. He's talking about the car with the damage to the front splitter and just having no ability to chase these guys down. He is one frustrated driver at the moment, standing by for the pit stop for them.
Ryland Gray was very wide on the exit of turn 1 in the Lubrimax Mustang, just in behind. Seaton now looking down the inside. Front splitter chattering, so he's had damage from earlier in the race. And Aaron Seaton goes down the inside of Greg Murphy, who raced his old man in touring cars for about 20 years. And so too did the father of Nash Morris. And now Flash gets up the inside in the Porsche. How about this racing in Monochrome GT4?
Greg Murphy's under a bit of fire at the moment. That's now 2 positions he's lost in the last 3 corners. So the Audi maybe hasn't quite switched on its tyres as well as these other cars. He was really quick at the start, and especially after that first safety car restart. Now he's got Ryland Gray in behind his mirrors, recently signed with Dick Johnson Racing for the main game next year. So going down into that hairpin there, slightly on the defence there was the number 10 Audi going up the hill there. And then Taylor Bryant, who was in behind Murphy a couple of laps ago, he's now just in behind.
Ryland Gray, the teenager, now a full-time supercars driver, gets past Greg Murphy. He's not quite a teenager anymore, and they go side by side into turn 10. This is an important race now for the Lubrimax Mustang. From a Silver Class Championship point of view, they came in 2nd. The car they're racing is down the order. It's currently 5th in the Silver Class, with Tom Heyman driving after copping damage and being turned around at the hairpin.
Yeah, Gray's just cleared Murphy, and now he's got Taylor Bryan up and behind him. Jay Murray's in this battle now as well, and Jared Hughes has managed to drive his way all the way back up into that 8th position and behind Jay Murray. So great comeback from them after spinning at the first corner on the first lap.
And I hate to rub salt into the wounds of Method Motorsport, but there's a mandatory pit stop time in GT4 Australia, so it's 106 seconds down pit lane. That's from pit entry to pit exit and the stop. But if you win the previous race, you get 15 seconds at it. If you're 2nd, you get 10 seconds at it, and 5 if you finish 3rd. As the JGI Mercedes looks up the inside, so Jared Hughes looking to get past Jay Murray and does so, and Taylor Bryant the next one. Guess who won the most recent race at the Bend?
Who was that,
It was the Method Motorsport McLaren. So not only are they right at the back of the field, they're going to sit in pit lane for 15 seconds longer than the cars they're racing in the Silver Class.
Yeah, they've unfortunately lost a few laps there, so it's looking like the Heyman, Gagan, McLaren Method Motorsport car is in a bit of strife at the moment, unfortunately, and that chaos at the start was just exactly what they didn't need, and especially after starting off the pole, it's never a nice way to end the race.
It's going to be massively costly for them in the championship. The Mustang looking to claim a title. Ford Australia's been very engaged with their Monochrome GT4 Australia program. Here's the Wade replay, back of shot. Oh, so no Tony Quinn Foundation backing for Ryland Gray going his way, I don't think. He's just taking out half of the sign, but that's all right. He lives to fight another day.
Dan Gaunt still leading this race, half an hour to go now, so he's now leading over Aaron Seaton. They've pulled a bit of a gap there to Nash Morris, who's got a bit of damage on the front of that Porsche, the number 210 TechWorks car. In fourth place, we've got Ryland Gray. Greg Murphy still defending hard. He's got Taylor Bryant, Jared Hughes, and Jay Murray all over him. Bit of an angry pack here, so coming down towards turn 2, it's all about braking late. Bryant's sort of pulled the nose out a little bit. He's looking for a move, but he's backed out of it, and Jared Hughes is going to try to go around the outside there of Taylor Bryant. He's actually managed to stay far enough up that he's going to be able to stay to the inside for the next corner. So great move there by Jared Hughes in the 87 Mercedes.
Beautifully captured by the 6th drone cam through this technical sequence, turn 4 and 5, and then up to 6 and 7, affectionately known as the double Bs. Sensational racing. A bit of word from race control, 15-second time penalty for Bailey Love. That's for that contact with Camilleri to turn him around. So he'll come 15 seconds that he'll be able to serve in his pit stop. I suspect that won't be the last penalty in this race for anybody, given everything that's going on. Jared Hughes continues to chip away. There's the Method Motorsport McLaren with big damage. Tom Heyman is 19th on the road at the moment. He is last but one in the race.
Yeah, there's a lot of, unfortunately, a lot of bits hanging off the front and the back of that Method Motorsport McLaren. We saw a little bit of debris coming off it, going down back straight there. But we go back to this fight. Greg Murphy's managed to just pull a little bit of a gap on Jared Hughes. Taylor Bryant's now losing a spot to Jay Murray there in the number 5 Morris Finance BMW, being run by Andy McElray and the McElray Racing crew. And then in behind them, we've got Jacob Lawrence, Caleb Patterson, and another Kiwi, James Sachs, there in 11th in the Kinloch Club Mercedes.
The Morris BMW with teenager Jay Murray, as down the inside goes Ryland Gray on Nash Morris. They've been wheel-to-wheel in the Super 2 Championship this year. Ryland leads that championship, trying to get 2 national titles in 1 year, potentially, if they can win Monochrome GT4 Australia.
Exactly right. We see there, again, Greg Murphy slightly on the defensive there. He's just moving the car over just enough to sort of disincentivize Jared Hughes from having a go. Hughes taking that line, slightly tighter line on the exit there of turn 2. Jay Murray's having a great battle there with the 67 Toyota Supra of Taylor Bryant and Jeremy Gray, as we see there. Go back to the Audi and the Mercedes, 2 beautifully made German cars, having a great battle as they come into the double B corner here. So let's see, Murphy gets the apex there. Jared Hughes closes right up on the back of the Audi there. As they come on the exit there, he gets a good run out of there, but what's Murphy going to do? He's running slightly defensive there. Jared Hughes again having to go the outside. Can he get the run on the exit though and have a go at the Porsche dipper?
Just confirmation through as well that the 777 Porsche, Nathan Callahan, you saw them with damage early on. They've been retired from the race. So Murphy continues to hold on. Jared Hughes in the battle. This is 5th, 6th, 7th, down to Jay Murray in 8th place, the teenager. 9th is Jacob Lawrence in this fight, and Caleb Patterson in the mix too, in the Neurogenics Porsche. To Shannon's pit lane, Greg Rust.
Toward the pit entry end, Grant Aiken is suited up and ready to go. He's waiting for Greg Murphy to come in. Similar story for the game over entry with Tony Quinn. I can also tell you, Krause, the word I am getting from Motorsport New Zealand Race Control, and you updated 1 penalty a moment ago, there are several incidents currently being reviewed.
And coming to you now is Greg Murphy with the Randall Racing number 32 BMW, following him of Jacob Lawrence, AM-Class champion-elect. He's done enough to seal that title. Just needs to survive this weekend. And if you think these pit stops look relaxed, it's because they are. There's a time, 106 seconds from pit entry to pit exit. So you don't need to rush. You can be methodical about your driver change. Greg just adjusting the belts, and Grant Aitken, hugely successful Kiwi racer who's been around the sport for a very long time. He's actually spent a lot of time in GT4 cars as well, Ronan, so very experienced in this style of racing and this style of car.
Yeah, Grant's been racing a long time. He raced back at the, back in the Wellington street race days, so he's very experienced, been around a long time, and thoroughly enjoys his racing. And obviously, very good mates with TQ, Tony Quinn, and they have a great little rivalry between them. Obviously, Grant here is sharing with Greg Murphy in the Audi, and Dan Gaunt sharing with Tony in the Toyota. So great start to the race for both those cars. Stayed out of trouble. They're right at the front, so it's going to be interesting to see what Grant and Tony can do once they jump back in.
Some more penalties just flowing through. Car 21, that's Jared Kite in the 99 Motorsport Mustang, has been given a drive-through penalty for a breach of the pit entry line. I wonder if that's related to speed as Aaron Seaton peels off into Shannon's pit lane. Daniel Gaunt will be cleared and will drive away in front. The job now for these drivers is to build the biggest possible margin you can to hand over to your co-driver for the back end of the race. But that's how long a pit stop is. The Audi's been sitting there for a long time now, and Aaron Seaton, who was second on the road, has already come into pit lane. So technically they're a lap down, but now Grant Aitken is back in the lane and will get most of that back. Also in the lane is Ryland Gray to hand over to George Miedeke, bottom of your screen on the 6th drone cam. The BMW leaves. Jacob Lawrence has completed his stop. Supra comes into pit lane as well. Most of the leaders now filing their way into this excellent pit lane facility, but the entry and the exit are challenges here.
We see there Grant Aitken coming out there in 11th, just ahead of Ryan Sorensen, number 24 Method Motorsport McLaren Artura. The two BMWs coming back onto the track now, the 32 and the 33 car, Jacob Lawrence and Peter Lawrence, coming down towards turn 2, the two Randall cars. You see there the pit lane's a lot going on at the moment. We've got the Mustang there of Ryland Gray and George Miedeke in there. It's the Mercedes number 17 car. These stops are a lot of time. There's a lot not don't have to be rushing. Just take your time, bolt yourself in, and get the tyre pressures done and back out. Yeah, so they'll often just bleed the pressures right back down, if not quite to where they start the race, but certainly a lower level than where they get to, especially after such aggressive racing. 23 minutes to go. We'll keep an eye on the rejoins for you as well into pit lane. These will be the last of the leaders outside of Daniel Gaunt, who still leads, to peel off into pit lane. Now, TechWorks, I wonder if there might be a bit of race tape attention to the front of that Porsche Cayman 718 with Nash Morris, the leader in as well. Tony Quinn, he's about to get in. He's all ready to go. He's rushed around the car. He just wants to get in there, get back out there and try and hold on to that lead.
Nice gentle pat in the back from Daniel Gaunt as the boss jumps in the car. So they'll have a short pit stop time, no pit lane penalty time for them because they didn't race in the last round. So they'll serve the minimum 106 seconds. This is a period of the race. We just need to breathe, and then it'll all cleanse itself when everyone's finished their mandatory stops. So Morris still in the lane. Jared Hughes in the lane. We'll hand over to Summer Rintoul in the 888 Race Engineering Run Mercedes AMG. Ryland Gray's back on the racetrack in car 35. So that's going to be one of the overlaps we'll need to follow, is where Ryland Gray emerges in the order relative to Jared Hughes and Summer Rintoul.
We just saw there Ryan Sorensen going down the inside of Grant Aitken there in the number 10 Audi, so passing position there. You see there the Randall BMWs coming up in behind as well, followed by the Mustang. Mustang of Jason Gummissall there. And we're going to go down to Rusty in the Shannons pit lane.
Just waiting for the game over stop to be completed here. The pit stop window has now been closed. I thought one of the competitors may have just missed the cut-off, but I think they're okay. I'll come back to you on that.
This battle continues. The BMW squeezing up the inside. Jacob Lawrence of Grant Aitken, who's just getting himself settled in. Down the lane goes the game over car. So Tony Quinn now behind the wheel. He's going to be racing Ryland Gray for the overall race lead.
Coming down the back straight there, BMW versus Audi horsepower. Managed to get down the inside there. Jacob Lawrence, 32 car. Come round onto the front straight now. The big long run up, the M4 GT4 car falling away from the Audi. We saw Tony Quinn just go back onto the track just before back in the 101 car. So it's going to be great, interesting to see where he pops out in all of this. He was eager to get into that car and get on with the job. As we see then, a splitter fluttering so hard on the front of that Mustang every time it brakes. It would not be a nice feeling having that come through the brake pedal every time you stand on the brakes.
So Nash Morris rejoins a little bit further down the pack from their stop. Oh, off the road again. Was that Heyman? Or it'll be Max Gagan behind the wheel of the Method car as well. I don't know how many more bits can fall off that McLaren Artura from Method Motorsport.
And they're going to be struggling a lot with front downforce on that car. As we see there, look, he's just coming away straight away. He tried to get back on the powers wide. The front splitter on that car is looking very second hand, and it's going to be struggling a lot, I think, to get that car rotated and turned without the front splitter working properly.
So this is going to be the battle for the overall race lead. It's Tony Quinn in the game over Supra and George Miedeke, who's taken over the number 35 Ford Mustang, the Lubramax racing car.
Yeah, and I think George Miedeke's going to have to be careful how he approaches this, because he's coming up to the circuit owner here, so he's going to have to be quite thoughtful in the way he goes about the pass. But Tony's doing a great job out the front there, and he's still got a margin over George, and I'm sure he's going to be highly motivated to try and do everything he can to stay ahead of that Mustang.
The number 56 Supra still in third position. Just confirming the drivers have changed, so it's Tony Quinn behind the wheel of car 101. It's George Miedeke behind the wheel of car 35, and they're about to change positions as well. Great run out of turn one. The grunt from the Mustang, it's been irrepressible since it came into Monochrome GT4 Australia and gets down the inside. Takes the race lead away, and importantly, massive points as well from a silver class point of view if they can survive the next 19 and a bit minutes.
We see now there, that's the 210 car of Zoe Woods going down the inside. The 28 car, the Organic Pro Teams car. A couple of Caymans having a great battle there, going into turn 3.
So that'll be Ken Quinn behind the wheel of the car. He's sharing with Caleb Patterson, Aussie Racing Cars racer who was on the streets of Surfers last weekend and stepping into his Monochrome GT4 Australia debut. So father and son on the racetrack at the moment, with Tony in P2 and Ken Quinn not that far behind in 8th.
I've wandered here in the Shannons pit lane into a bit of what I think is a fun discussion. Was there a bit of a debrief on your session, or what's going on here?
I don't think Dan's very happy.
Why?
I'm pretty sure I think I might have jumped the restart. Yeah, and he's not. He's like, you didn't read the rules. He's getting all serious. So we'll let him calm down.
Okay. Have you enjoyed that?
Well, it was weird. I didn't, obviously major disruption at the first corner, and the old boy was just being a little bit more cautious about where he was, and managed to filter my way through, and then maybe I got excited, thought I was 23 again, and jumped the gun maybe at the restart. So, although we haven't been given a penalty, so I don't know what's going on.
Okay. I'm a huge believer in balance.
Australian rules, mate. I'm driving to the New Zealand rules.
Okay, let's get the other side of the equation. Can we get you in here? Are you a little bit miffed at him? Have you calmed down?
What did that cheat just say?
Good stint by you.
It was good. It was good fun. I think there's a bit of confusion with some of the Kiwis with the Australian rules, but no, the race this weekend's been great. The track, Hampton Downs, the SRO series, both the GT3 and GT4 series, been great to be here and be part of this weekend.
Thank you, mate.
Cheers.
And back to the action there. We saw actually a tyre, and I think it may have come off potentially off the Method Motorsport McLaren there. Yeah, he's on 3 tyres, so it's popped off at some point, and we've seen bits and pieces and debris flying off that car the whole race, unfortunately, after that start line bloody incident, and so it's not looking so good, and it looks like that might be the end of their day. The car's looking pretty second-hand. We see more bits coming off different cars. It's just been, the first 3 or 4 laps it was contact central, and it's ended up with a lot of bits sprayed across the track. So unfortunate to see that McLaren looks like they may be parking for the day potentially. But going back to it, Ryland Gray and George Miedeke are still out the front there. Tony Quinn's now under attack from James Sachs in the 56 car. Tony's gone to the inside. He's looking to defend. Coming down into turn 1. James is going to try to go around the outside there to the back straight. We see there Taylor Bryan in the background there behind James Sachs, so he's going to be the next car. James Sachs lining up to go down the inside of Tony, down towards turn 2. Tony gives him the room. He's gone in really deep there. They're going to end up side by side on the exit there, not quite. So Tony Quinn now just dropped back into 3rd place, and he's got Jeremy Gray in behind him there in 4th.
Ryland's father.
Yes, Ryland's father. So Ryland's car's out up the front there, and Jeremy's now in 4th and fighting for a podium. So he's doing a great job there in another one of those Supras, and not too far behind is Summer Rintoul there in 5th place in the number 87 888 Mercedes AMG GT4.
Yeah, and going around really nicely too. That's the rim that's come off the Max Gagan Method Motorsport McLaren Artura, so they've chucked another tyre on the back of that. They have to finish. They must finish this race to score championship points. Right now, they would score 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th position points in the silver class. So it's not the end of the world. They came in with 9 points. They would lose the championship lead as it stands if George Miedeke can bring the 35 car home, but they'd still be in the fight going into the final race tomorrow. And that's all you can do. It's how you minimise your bad days versus how good your good days are in a long championship like this. The Supras are at it. Tony Quinn under pressure. So Jeremy Gray is going to squeeze up the inside and go wheel to wheel. This is his first run in the Toyota Supra. Hadn't driven the car before Thursday. They snuck in a couple of little test sessions here in the afternoon. He settled himself in, and Jeremy now works his way up the leaderboard once again, car 67.
And now Summer Rintoul looking up the inside of Tony Quinn, going down towards turn 2. She's going to try and outbrake Tony. Didn't quite get there, and gives him a little nudge on the exit there, just letting Tony know that she's there. A little bit of debris hanging off the back of that Mercedes as well, likely from the start of that race. But as we see, George Miedike's managed to pull out a sizable gap over James Sachs. Jeremy Gray's doing a great job there in 3rd. Tony's doing a great job holding off Summer Rintoul there. Then not too far behind them is Ryan Sorensen, the other Method Motorsport McLaren. And he's looking to bring home a good result. Unfortunately, the sister cars not had the best of days. But as you said, Richard, it's just crucial just to finish, get to the end. That's the priority, is finish these races when you've had a tough day.
Grant Aitken continues to circulate back down in 12th position now, just confirming the driver names that it's George Miedeke behind the wheel of car 35. James Sachs is driving on his own in that Mercedes, so he is 2nd on the road. It's Jeremy Gray behind the wheel of car 67. Tony Quinn behind the wheel of 101. About to slip back to 5th position as Summer Rintoul gets up the inside in the JGI Mercedes AMG. Another change of position. Turn 10, a popular spot for that today. And the Merc squeezes itself up now into 4th place. And that will put them, they're still 2nd in the silver class. It's been a bit of a theme for that team this year, yet to get a victory, but they've been on the podium a bunch of times.
100%, and George Miedeke, he's just cruising out the front there. He's got a 9-second lead, so all he's got to do is just bring the car home, nurse it home nice and safely, and it's looking more and more likely with 12 minutes to go that it'll be him and Ryland Gray in the box seat for the race win. But James Sachs, he's 9 seconds behind. He's doing a great job on that Mercedes. He's the Lone Ranger out there, just driving that car all by his lonesome, and I honestly could not think of anything better to be doing on a Saturday than driving a Mercedes GT car around Hampton Downs International Circuit.
Good gig if you can get it, and even better for James Sachs, he would win the AM class, so he'd get the big trophy regardless, 1st or 2nd on the road. He'd win the AM class. He's got good margin over Ryan Sorensen, who's 2nd in that class at the moment. Jacob Lawrence is 3rd. Taylor Bryant, Jeremy Gray still leading silver AM. They're the number 67 Toyota Supra, 3rd on the road, but leading their class. It's a class-based championship. You score points and trophies based on where you finish in your class. Just over 11 minutes remaining in this one. A wild opener to Monochrome GT4 Australia. The thing that struck me about this race, Ronan, is that yes, there's been some drama, some is an understatement, plenty of carnage, but when they've been racing wheel to wheel, it has been outstanding. They've raced really well at this circuit.
Oh, it's been brilliant, and just so much action going on since the very first minute of the race to now. You know, we've had 48 minutes, or just over 48 minutes of racing, and it's just been action-packed from the start. And now, only just now, with 11 minutes to go, has it started to settle down a little bit. But I've got no doubt and got a bit of a feeling that we're going to be in for plenty more action for the rest of the afternoon here at sunny Hampton Downs International Raceway.
Well, these races have tended to have a little twist in the tail of them throughout the course of this year's Monochrome GT4 Australia season, as Jeremy Gray, Ryland's dad, gets up the inside of James Sachs. That's P2. Give you a little lap time check when they come around again, just to see where his pace is relative to the leader. But right now we're in a position where Ryland Gray leads his dad. Jeremy Gray second. Ryland Gray leads the race. What a moment this could be for the Gray family.
Yeah, just unfortunate for them they're not in the cars at the same time.
I don't know where Mum is, but there'd be some stress involved, I would imagine, right now. Jero said coming into the weekend, he's a guy with an enormous amount of racing experience, endurance racing, sprint racing, V8 Utes in Oz back in the day. But even he said, I was properly nervous getting into this thing. I had the butterflies going, hasn't driven for a while. Last thing he raced, I think, was a Ford Capri Piranha V8 Touring Car Masters car. So it's been a very different driving style. Ryland in the lane watching on. Dad's out there in P2, but I wonder if Ryland is more focused on what George Miedeke is doing in the race lead in that Lubramax car.
Summer Rental's actually just passed James Sachs for that third place, so now she's going after Jeremy Gray for that second position. So it may not all be over here for the second and third place trophies.
Shannon's pit lane. Here's Greg Rust.
Gone whistle before the start of the race, and he said, I just want to be able to have a nice sleep tonight, Aaron, and not worry about this. You guys are in good shape for this title, aren't you, for Silver Am?
Yeah, absolutely. It was a shame what happened at the start. Obviously, with Cricky getting damaged there, it would have been awesome to go into the last race. I couldn't quite see Jared on my inside there, so I haven't had a chance to have a look to see what happened. But yeah, I just felt a tap on my rear wheel, and around we went. So the car's carrying a bit of damage at the moment. Our splitter's flapping, so yeah. Jace is doing a good job to go round and round, and hopefully we can wrap up the championship today.
It's been a fiercely contested series, this one. What would that mean to you to do that?
Yeah, it'd be pretty special, obviously. Me and Jace sharing the car. He's been a massive part of my career, and I can't thank him enough for what he's done for me. So, yeah, it's pretty exciting to share this with him.
Yeah, thanks for chatting with us.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rusty. Talking to Aaron Seaton, who drove so superbly despite that spin at the start. And we're going back to safety car. And it's the BMW of Lib Palermo. I think it's Suzanne behind the wheel of that car after the pit stops. So it spun into the gravel trap. It's well and truly beached, and we're going back behind the safety car. Now that sets up a grandstand finish in this one, because do you know who the quickest car on the racetrack for the last couple of laps was, Ronan Murphy?
Summer Rental.
Correct.
And I think maybe it was a little bit of case of commentator's curse, because it wasn't long ago, and we were talking about this, how it was all sort of starting to smooth out a bit there, Richard, and you said to me, the action doesn't stop in this category, and sure enough, with 8 minutes to go, we have a safety car.
It never ceases to amaze me how much you can squeeze into one of these races, and it's like a novel from start to finish that you speed read through in an hour. It's crazy. BMW M safety car will pick up George Miedeke, who leads the race. Behind them will be Jeremy Gray in the Toyota Supra, and then Summer Rental in the Mercedes AMG.
And out of all the cars that were in the front sort of group, or the top sort of 4 or 5 cars, Summer Rental was the fastest, but George Miedeke wasn't too much slower than she was the last few laps. So maybe the Mustang, it had a big margin, maybe it was saving a bit of tyre, so maybe we'll wait and see shortly when we go back under green again, whether maybe he's got something left in the tank to try and fight her with, because I'm sure Summer will be right up and at it trying to get past Jeremy Gray and George Miedeke to try and get that race win.
Now, I'm going to get this out of the way now, because I can hear Jared Hughes yelling at me from the 888 bunker already. They have finished second on 3 occasions this season so far. They have narrowly missed out on a race win in Monochrome GT4 Australia. They now have a very fast race car, a fired-up teenager in the form of Summer Rental behind the wheel, and they've got some track position to work with it. This is a great opportunity, but to get past George Miedeke will be an enormous job. And to your point, it felt like there was some management going on out in front. He knew he had a nearly 10-second race lead. I don't think George was extending himself overly in that Ford Mustang while out in front by that margin.
No, he could cruise and just look after the car and probably prepare for a situation like this, where a late safety car comes in and you want to have some tyre life left to be able to fight with. if there's cars behind that are a bit quicker. So he's probably played that pretty smart, but we will see what everyone has in the last few minutes of this race once we clear the safety car and get back to it. We see there George Medicke in the lead, Jeremy Gray's going to be going off second, Jared Hughes there in third, Ryan Sorensen's done a great job to get that McLaren into fourth, Jacob Lawrence there in fifth, and Tony Quinn and Dan Gaunt there in sixth. So it's going to be an exciting finish to this one, and what a perfect way to kick off Monochrome GT4 Australia here at the Alliance Services Hampton Downs GT International.
Oh, it's been a show, hasn't it? What a spectacular display of racing it's been, even if some of it's been a little wild for some. Just in behind that, so you talked about Tony Quinn, he's sixth. Safety car probably hurts car 101 a little bit, brings them back to the pack. They had a bit of clear air around them. Zoe Woods is just in behind. Zoe is a driver that has taken enormous steps forward in her driving this season in Monochrome GT4 Australia with Nash Morris alongside the TechWorks team. Mum Astrid is here this weekend. Dad Rob is not. Woodsy's, I know you know Woodsy quite well. He's back on the Gold Coast watching on and undoubtedly stressing out hard over not being here at Hampton Downs. We'll come back to that in a minute, because in Shannon's pit lane we once again find Rusty.
I'm with Ryland Gray. Is everyone okay here? A few little stressed faces when I walked in a moment ago.
Yeah, everything's all right. It's been a very hectic race so far, but yeah, George is out in the lead, going well. Just focus on ourselves and worry about tomorrow.
Yeah, all right, what about the remainder of this race? Have you got enough to cover them?
I think so. Yeah, it's been pretty cool. 4 minutes left. Hopefully George claims the win and gains some points back.
2025 has been a great season for you, mate. It's our first chance to catch up with you off the back of that awesome news that you'll be going to DJR next year. How excited are you? Congratulations.
Yeah, it's very exciting to join the main game next year, especially with DJR. Is very special, very good team up the front. So yeah, looking forward to next year.
We'll let you focus on this. Thanks for chatting with us.
Thank you.
He's in race mode, isn't he? He's not worried about the fact that he's a full-time supercars driver now. He just wants this victory, and with it will breathe life into their Silver Class Championship, because they're going to get a massive haul of championship points with the closest rivals scored down in 19th on the road. Max Gagan behind the wheel of car 25, but 5th in the Silver Class. From a points point of view, that will be enough to swap the championship lead going into Championship Sunday.
Absolutely right, and hopefully we're not under safety car for too much longer. Obviously we've got to make sure the track's safe, clear that stricken car, the number 66 BMW, and we can get back to green flag racing before the end of this one. But hopefully once we do go green flag again shortly, it's going to be a nail-biting finish to the first race of Monochrome GT4 Australia. It's been action-packed so far, and if you're currently watching anywhere around the world, don't go anywhere. It's going to be a cracking finish to this one.
Well, and if you're watching anywhere within a couple of hundred clicks of Hampton Downs, get here tomorrow to the Repco Next Gen NZ Championship, because it'll be worth watching this live. The variety of this grid is, for me, one of the most fun things when you're sitting trackside. The bellow of the Mustangs, and then the slightly muted turbocharged cars, but then the straight six of a Supra, and then you get that V10 Audi screaming past as well. The variety in this grid is just awesome, and it's been so popular. As some stressed faces watch on down in the Lubrimax Racing Camp. Just as a reminder, he's driving with George Medicke, who leads, but Dad is currently P2 on the road in the Supra that he's been sharing with Taylor Bryant this weekend.
Exactly right, and it's quite cool when it can be a family affair like that, and you can have yourself and your dad right up there. But certainly going to be a nail-biting exercise watching this. But looking back through, as you were saying before, Richard, it's so great just seeing a different, such a variety of cars. As we see there, the 66 cars managed to get going again. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll get a green flag the next time around. And yeah, it's so cool to see such a variety of cars here in New Zealand, and great to see a good crowd of people here as well, enjoying themselves and out having some fun in the sun.
Really good atmosphere, beautiful conditions too. A little breeze blowing across from the north at the moment, so down the pit straight, just on 20 degrees, ambient conditions. I still can't get used to the UV you guys have got over here at the moment. You burn pretty easily at this place, but lovely conditions for racing, and yeah, lots of people have turned out passionate about it. Lots to come this afternoon here at the Repco Next Gen NZ Championship 2. Somerset GT New Zealand is going to be great fun, with a bunch of Porsches chasing one Mercedes AMG. We've got the Napa Central Muscle Cars, the Porsche NZ Championship coming your way. Bridgestone GR86 is stacked. That field is awesome. And then the day concludes with GT World Challenge Australia. A title fight is well and truly on there between Audi and Ferrari. Lots to come your way. Confirmation that the lights will go out on the BMW M safety car this time by, and we are going to get ourselves a shootout to the checkered flag, and it will be George Miedeke who leads the field back to green in the Ford Mustang.
Yeah, this is going to be an awesome last lap, or last couple of lap dash here, so not long until the safety car lights go out, and then George Miedeke will lead us around to commence the green flag. And it's, yeah, this is just going to be exciting. And again, we've got a Ford leading, we've got a Toyota second, a Mercedes third, McLaren fourth, and a BMW fifth. So again, the top five, all different manufacturers.
And here's some more good news. It's going to be a one-lap dash.
Even better.
Strap yourself in, folks. Monochrome GT4 Australia. It has been a roller coaster ride. Their debut as a standalone category in New Zealand has been exciting. And you feel like there's another little twist in the tail to come in the opening race of the final round of what's been a compelling championship. That's George Miedeke. He's the leader. A lapped car, the Mustang in behind. With the second car on the road is the Silver Am class leader of Jeremy Gray. The green flying. Oh, it's still pretty messy again. There goes Miedeke. What a jump that is from the Lubrimax Mustang. He says, see you later. I am out of here. The car to watch will be Summer Rintoul, fourth on the road, third in the leaderboard. The number 87 Mercedes looking to get themselves a little bit further up the order, potentially challenge for a race win.
And the second Mustang in the queue there, that's actually a lap down. Yeah, they've managed to move out of the way, so good on them for the racing etiquette there, getting out of the way and letting the leaders get on with it. So we see there Jeremy Gray in second, Summer Rintoul's there in third. Gray actually, well, Miedeke got the best restart of everybody, but Gray managed to pull away from Rintoul as well, so that could be critical in this last half of the lap, managing to stay ahead.
And just behind the Mercedes is the battle for the AM class lead, and it's Ryan Sorensen clinging on there in the McLaren. Jacob Lawrence has got right to the back of the Method Motorsport McLaren. So that is the battle for the class victory, BMW versus McLaren. There they are, middle of shot, over the double Bs, and then down the bottom of the hill. This drag strip down to the final couple of corners. This is the tight right-hand hairpin. Rintoul looking around the outside. Up the inside goes Sorensen, trying to squeeze past to get onto the podium potentially. So Summers trying to attack it down. This is for the lead in the class on the last lap of the race with 2 corners to go. Jacob Lawrence has got it done in the BMW for Randall Racing. Opportunistic move. While Sorensen was trying to put a move on the Merc, the BMW has struck, and that will be first place in class for Jacob Lawrence within sight of the checkered flag.
Kent Quinn managed to just get around Tony Quinn there in the game over car, so great battle there between father and son as we've got someone off.
Family stories everywhere in this one, but it's championship game on out in front because George Miedeke and Ryland Gray move themselves to the lead of the silver class with 1 race to go.
Wild finish to that one. If you could have a 1-lap dash, that was certainly a good one. And yeah, great job by Ryland Gray and George Miedeke to take out the race victory in the 35 Lubrimax Mustang.
And how good is the story? The car in second place, so Ryland Gray has won. His dad's finished second with Taylor Bryant on his debut, both of their debut in Monochrome GT4 Australia. What a week it has been for Ryland Gray, and from a silver class championship, that is enormous. Massive championship points. So scored way down, 5th in class, 19th on the road, Max Gagan, in a battered and bruised and damaged and limping McLaren.
And I think that McLaren was the car that went off at the last corner there on the exit. You could see in the background there, they were getting really aggressive trying to make some moves on this last lap and take advantage of the safety car, but then it's ended up with that poor 25 McLaren out in the dirt again.
What a race. Monochrome GT4 Australia, it has been blockbuster all season. Ryland Gray and George Miedeke, congratulations, the winner for Ford today at Hampton Downs, the debut on New Zealand soil. Taylor Bryant and Jeremy Gray win the silver AM class and finish second. Jared Hughes and Summer Rintoul third and second in silver. Jacob Lawrence, what a move that was in the final corner, by the way. Squeezing down the inside, gets the AM Class win.
Very crafty, brilliantly thought out, and he managed to get past that 24 car and take the win. So great job from him.
So we confirm the walking wounded a little bit further back. Some big names out. Cameron Crick and Dean Campbell failed to finish. They were out very early. Frugus and Tim Berryman out as well. Zach Suter and Nathan Callahan, those two cars out on the opening lap. Let's go back and unpick that one for you. Monochrome GT4 Australia putting on a show here at the Alliance Services Hampton Downs International on turn 1. Contact between the SS Signs Mustang down into turn 1 with Aaron Seaton behind the wheel, and then it was Jake Camilleri a little bit further. Restart was messy, but Greg Murphy took the most advantage of them all and rocketed to the race lead. Yeah,
he certainly did, and we saw there Nash Morris firing into the back of Tom Heyman there, and then a couple of Supras got caught up in that melee as well. And then another restart, we saw the Mobil 1 Mustang and the number 17 Mercedes get involved in each other. There's Dan Gaunt going down the inside of Greg Murphy there. Great battle between those two. And then George Medicki going down the inside of Tony Quinn, and that was the pass for the lead, which eventually turned into the race win.
James Sachs looked really strong early in the GT4. The Kinlock-sponsored Mercedes AMG, he was in great form early. And then we had these battles all over, so that was right at the end. A couple of cars off, in fact, Zoe Woods too, a couple of wheels off on the run to the line. Checkered flag flies, the Mustang grabs the victory. And in the silver class, an enormous championship swing for these two, George Medicki and Ryland Gray on top on Saturday. And that championship between Ford and McLaren will go down to the wire tomorrow. The class winners roll into the lane. And Ryland Gray's going to be able to go over here and see his old man, because it's Ryland Gray's dad, Jeremy Gray, behind the wheel of the Toyota Supra that has not only won the silver AM class, but has finished second on the road as well. There's Jero getting out of the car. And what a day it's been for him and young Taylor Bryant. That's been a spectacular performance on debut.
Yeah, you could not have asked for a crazier first race for the Monochrome GT4 Championship. And that's it. Like, you got cars that weren't necessarily, you know, at the front or sort of a factor at the start that ended up coming into it. We obviously had the pit stops, driver changes, and George Medicki and Ryland Gray have come out on top.
Oh, that was fun. The variety in this category is extraordinary, and every time we do one of these races, we feel like you just need to have a big at the end of it and a big sigh, because so much occurs in that one. The Allied Petroleum Victory Lane is the place to be here at Hampton Downs after a race like that, and there's no one better to do it than Greg Rust.
I'm with both George Medicki and Ryland Gray. Now, you're smiling now. You can relax a little bit. That feel better?
Yeah, it was pretty chaotic. I didn't think we'd be here after being nearly last after the first lap, but yeah, pretty cool to get the win from the back. Credit to George, drove it well and kept it in the lead.
Pretty chaotic race, to use your words there before. Just kind of surviving that opening, whatever, like 15 minutes or so was key, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. First corner was a bit hectic. Some people made it 3 wide, which wasn't the go, but avoided all the chaos. Went off the track, went to the back, come back to the front, and to win's pretty cool.
Before I go to George, what did it mean to have, you know, from a family scenario here? Pretty cool to have both you and your dad on the podium here.
Yeah, it's super cool that he had to make a pass for the lead as well, which was good. So yeah, 1-2 for us, which is very, very cool as a family.
Well done. Hey George, what about the final part of the race there for you? We thought of that restart, you might have been under siege.
Yeah, no, I could. All the creaks and rattles and everything were coming out of it, weren't they? But what a roller coaster of a race. I mean, when the first lap happened, you know, when Ryland got shuffled to the back, I just said to him, look, let's just keep our head down and have some fun, you know, like, let's go out there and rip some throats out. And that's what he did. You know, he moved straight back to the front, didn't put a mark on the car, which is what he's done for us all season. And then I just got to get in and cruise. I felt like my pace was pretty good, but I was able to manage tyre wear there at the end. And yeah, that feels bloody good.
I bet it does. I mean, to finally wrap this up with you here, I mean, bit of stuff went down for the McLarens in this race, but on balance, what a season it's been for the Mustang.
Absolutely. McLaren didn't deserve that. You know, those guys have been impeccable all year. You know, Chaz and his team do a fantastic job, and Max and Tommy, you know, were very, very fast, incredibly fast, obviously both poles. So it's a real shame to see that happen, but really great to see
Ryland get a result like he bloody deserves. You know, this news yesterday really set the whole team on fire. We're so proud that he's going to be joining Supercars next year and finally show everyone what we know he's capable of.
Well done. Thanks for chatting with us here. We'll leave them. We're going to get into podium mode here in a minute. I'm not sure who we've got from a second place standpoint to chat with you at present. Here comes Taylor now. We might try and get them in to have a word. And Jeremy. Taylor and Jeremy, come on in. We're wrangling here. Come on over to our interview area here, please, to the both of you. Hey, I know it's second, but that still must feel pretty sweet. Really cool.
Yeah, I get sick of watching Ryland win all the time. One more would have been good for us, but Taylor done a terrific job. Car's straight out of the crate, so I think the team's done a really good job. Action Motorsport and Sean and all the guys. Yeah, so it's good to be back behind the wheel.
Congratulations, great effort by you. We could kind of tell it was going to be a tense final lap or two. Did you feel like if you had another lap, you guys might have been able to challenge there?
Yeah, I mean, never know. Like at the start of the race, I thought we were pretty much last. So big thanks to Jeremy for the opportunity. It's just, yeah, pretty cool. Cool to come away with a second place outright, first in class. So can't ask for more.
Good on you. Congratulations to you both.
Thank you.
Richard?
Yeah, thanks, Rusty. Great stuff. That's such a cool moment. They still win the Silver Am class, though, so they still get the big trophies. So the trophies that Ryland Gray gets and that his dad, Jero, gets as well will be exactly the same. Beautiful scenes at Hampton Downs International. This is such a cool place to go racing, and the very warm reaction from New Zealand motorsport fans to both GT World Challenge Australia, powered by AWS, and Monochrome GT4 coming to this part of the world has been outstanding. We're on standby for a podium presentation, and we're going to celebrate this one in Allied Petroleum Victory Lane with the podium. Here's Rusty.
I think what we're going to do, Richard, just because we've been doing a little bit of wrangling down here, is do the podium presentation for the 2025 Monochrome GT4 Australia Race 1, Round 6 at Hampton Downs. Presenting the trophies today, we're delighted to have with us too Steve McLaughlin on behalf of Pirelli. Please, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome our top 3 place cars for the silver class. In third place today for Gomersall Motorsport, make some noise for Jake Camilleri, everybody. Put your hands together. We'll get this organised. We need a bit of assistance with some drivers here at present. Well, second place today, Jared Hughes and Summer Rintle as well for JGI 888 Racing, and in that Mercedes AMG. Jared and Summer, come on over to the podium. We need Jake Camilleri to make his way over here too. And ladies and gentlemen, first place today, Ryland Gray and George Miedeke for Miedeke Motorsport with Lubramax in the Ford Mustang. Top of the podium, please. Head on up there, drivers. We'll get Jake. Is Jake Camilleri with us too? We'll get him up on the podium. We need Steve to give us. We've got some trophies here that are about to be awarded. Some very eager people waiting on the podium for those trophies. Steve, come on in and we can deliver the trophies. Great work. We're waiting, I think, for Jake to come on over. We need to hustle this through. Yep, let's get the other trophies delivered if we can, please, team. Thank you. Well done, Jake. Great job there. We go to second place. They pushed hard to Jared Hughes and Summer Rintle. Nice work. Yeah, put your hands together, please, everybody. And your winners. Steve about to deliver the trophies to Ryland Gray and George Miedeke. Ladies and gentlemen, that is your Monochrome GT4 Australia Silver Cup winners. A photo for the waiting media. Nice applause from the crowd here in New Zealand. Drivers, just one thing remains. Time for the celebrations. And for the broadcast, we're about to take you back to the commentary team with celebrations well underway here, Richard.
Rusty, podiums never get easier, do they, as they celebrate down there. And Summer Rintle and Jared Hughes celebrate another podium in what's been a great year. What a debut for Monochrome GT4 Australia here in New Zealand. They've got another race to come later on this afternoon. But here at the Alliance Services Hampton Downs International, the action does not stop, because we're not far away from the opening race of a brand new year in Somerset GT New Zealand. And it's not a massive field, but there is some spice involved in this one. Joel Giddy will start from pole position in his Mach 1 Engineering Mercedes AMG alongside Regan Scholar, the youngster in the 999 Porsche GT3 Cup car. The defending champion Rick Armstrong is just in behind. This is an understanding of Somerset GT New Zealand as I welcome Andrew Waite back to the commentary box for the first time today. Andrew, this has been great fun. We're looking forward to seeing how this one plays out.
Yeah, can't wait to see how this goes. Brand new championship, as you were saying there, Richard. So everyone's been set after a long winter, been hanging out to get back into some racing. So it's going to be fantastic to watch it all unfold very shortly. And great to see Regan Scholar, who's a new one to the championship, did a fantastic job in qualifying, qualifying second and behind Joel Giddy, who put it on pole by less than a tenth of a second. So very, very tight. Mercedes versus Porsche, and Rick Armstrong in third place as well, as we see them come around, line up on the grid. Yes, it's not the biggest field, but the other half of the field is in our GT4 class that we just saw before, and what a fantastic race that was to watch.
Well, and they were right at the pointy end as well, Andrew. They were having a cracking race as we see the other podiums going on for Monochrome GT4 Australia. So that's the Silver Am battle. So in the battle of trophies between father and son, the Greys have got exactly the same trophy at the end of the day. It's such a cool story to see how that's played out.
Oh, it's brilliant, isn't it? And what a race to watch unfold. I couldn't help but hang out and watch a bit on the side of the track there, and some seriously fierce battles going on, and different interpretations of race restart rules, and things were changing a bit along the way, but it's time now to get set and ready for the Somerset GT race.
It feels like you've got more to say on that, but unfortunately we don't have time to dig deep into what went on some of those